Painting is relaxing, but turning it into a YouTube channel comes with some unique challenges. You've got cameras over wet paint, you've got lighting that doesn't distort the colour, hopefully. You've got artwork that can take days to paint. So you've got days and days of filming because of the drying time as well. Depends what sort of paint you're using, of course. Now, today I'm talking with Paul Ranson of Paul Ranson Art, who's got a wonderful YouTube channel where he teaches thousands of viewers to create the most beautiful oil paintings step by step. We'll talk about how he learned to paint, how he turned that skill actually into a YouTube channel, and the practicalities that come with filming art. Now, before we meet Paul, let me introduce myself. I'm Tracy Lippett of YouTube for Grown Up. I have another channel as well. Paul and I are kindred spirits because I have a resin craft channel called Mini Scenes GB. I'm really intrigued to talk to Paul. Paul, for anybody who hasn't discovered your channel yet, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you actually do on YouTube.
Well, Paul Ranson Art is the name of the channel, and it really all began during COVID lockdown, and I think an awful lot of channels actually discovered their feet during the COVID lockdown. We were all sort of sitting around sort of wondering what to do with ourselves. But prior to that, I'd started teaching art classes. I hit that magic 40-year mark and thought I need to do something different with my life. And so we got my other half, Terry, and I, she wanted to learn to paint. And we discovered the joy of painting and Bob Ross, the TV artist. She was captivated with what Bob did. And from there, it was just serendipity. We ended up going to a few classes. And then by pure chance, we happened to bump into somebody who knew there was a teacher training class in Holland. And he suggested that, Holland, the Netherlands.
You went all the way across there.
Yeah, and he said, your wife's really got this nailed. She should be teaching this, and if she can get accredited, then she can teach this using the Bob Ross logo and everything. And so 6 weeks later, I was going to take her on the course so she could do the course. I was just going to be the taxi driver, and she insisted that. Because I'd already dabbled with paints and oils and I already sort of had an interest, she said, well, if you're going to go that way with me, she said, you might as well do the course as well. So that was in 2000-ish. We started doing that, 2001. So after a few more trips backwards and forwards to Holland, we became accredited as certified instructors. And shortly after, we started teaching full-time classes in the UK. We both gave up good paying jobs and decided that was going to be our future. So that's how it tied up with a move from London to the South Coast. So we were teaching here on the South Coast, and that's what we did for basically until COVID. So we taught non-stop for 20 years. And it was hugely fun.
That's a massive move, though, to chuck in well-paid jobs.
Yes.
So had you before you actually dropped your former well-paid jobs, had you already phased in the teaching?
Yes.
Or you had?
Terry sort of left her corporate job first. I just said, we can't do the two things together. One of us needs to be running the nuts and bolts of it and to be doing the administration, setting up the classes, setting up the bookings, dealing with all the nuts and bolts, the very unglamorous bit of running any business. Ask anybody that runs a business, and there'll always be that sort of task that needs to be done. That you just have to run. You have to be able to run the business as a business. It's not a hobby. So Terry started running that, and I was doing the full-time income. But we were running the class, and I was running a full-time job as well, and pretending that one didn't happen. So, and then after 18 months, I just said to work, that's it. I'm done. And they just wondered what had happened. I just said, I've been leading a double life. I've been running another business in the background, and I'm just going to go and run that now full time. And that was it. And we moved shortly afterwards.
So running the two side by side, that must have been immensely hard work.
It was. Yeah, I was working at a place called Harlow in Essex, which is outside North London. Monday to Friday, and then Friday night I would get home, Terry would have everything set up, and we would load the car. We would drive to the south coast, and then on Saturday morning we would set up a class for 16 people and teach Saturday, then teach on Sunday, then pack up Sunday night and drive all the way back home again. And then back on Monday morning, I'd be back in the suit and tie, pretending that I'd had a busy day cutting the grass.
Crikey. And 18 months you kept that up for?
Did it? Yeah, a year and a half, till we had established enough classes and enough of an income and enough of a base of people to see the potential. Once we could see the figures made sense, then we cut loose and moved.
Crikey. How exciting, though, to be able to move from a corporate job to something that you've got a passion for, and something creative. It's wonderful.
I think a lot of people tend to cling to what they know for far too long. I don't blame people for doing that. I think that some people just aren't really geared up to do something a bit mad like we did. But for those,
it's a big risk.
You do have to risk a little bit in life. I'm afraid you can play it too safe for too long, and then look back and think, "Oh, if only." And I don't want to be an if only person. So, if I think there's something I really want to go and do, then I will go and do it.
On your channel, you focus a lot on, well, it's all oil painting tutorials specifically. Yes. What drew you to oil painting in the first place?
Years ago, and this is the sort of the first touch of anything to do with serious art, was my mum bought me a painting by numbers kit, and I can see it in my mind's eye, and it was two little elves with bells and hats and things, and some little pots of oil paint, and you used to go and just fill in all the numbers, and it was very simple. There were two little sort of panels, and I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed painting them. They were just very, very simple. Nothing complicated. I was probably, I'm going to say 5, 6 years old, so I was a little kid. Yeah. And my mum bought my dad a painting by numbers. It was ducks flying across the lake, your classic sort of British English country scene. And my dad started painting it and sort of lost interest in it. I think he ran out of time trying to do it. And so I said, "Can I have it?" And so he said, "Sure, here you go." And I finished the painting for him. But I started inventing bits and adding things to it that weren't there, and because you could sort of see that that was my passion, to sort of be inventive and creative, and that was my very, very first ever touch. But I always loved painting, and I always loved drawing. And for so many years, it was pushed behind sort of like getting a proper job and earning a proper income and. So it sort of stayed very much in the background until the Bob Ross thing happened, and then it was something like full speed ahead.
Yeah, sounds a little bit like my background. I remember when I was a little kid, paint by numbers kits. Yeah, yes. I don't remember them being with oils though. I think they were always were they acrylics or were they poster paints even? Yeah. I don't know.
I know that they smelt terribly, because that was one of the reasons why my mum wasn't that keen on me using them, because the house would reek of these enamel paints. They were like an enamel. It's like a really pungent smell. And
I remember the early oil paints. They're very
early stuff, yeah. And we always used to joke that I'd paint for a day and be sick for 3 days because the fumes were so strong.
And yet they sold them for kids.
Oh, yeah. Health and safety didn't really count. That was back in the days when they thought a cigarette didn't hurt you.
Yeah, and you didn't need seatbelts in the back of the car either. That sort of thing, isn't it?
Are they?
Goodness me, yeah. So all in all, then, I mean, obviously you started with the whole painting as you are now thing.
Yes.
You said 2001-ish, was it?
2001 we started full-time teaching.
Were you actually painting all through from being a child to now? Then
I dabbled in the background, and I would do little bits and pieces, then I would forget about it, then I would pick up the brushes again and then do some stuff, and then I got into other things, like I got into mechanics. I loved mechanical things, anything DIY, woodwork I love. So I was doing lots of other artistic type things, but not necessarily painting, but always creative, always a creative person. And I would love to sort of take something apart and fix it. I'm a fixer. I like to fix broken things. You know, the garage is full of things waiting for spare parts to arrive so I can fix them. So just another one of those little things I like to do.
We've got a motorbike like that in our conservatory. It's only been about 30 years. Oh, well. Oh, dear. So the idea of actually moving your teaching onto YouTube,
Yes.
how did that actually come about in the first place?
It was driven by necessity, because when we had COVID in the UK, we were on lockdown, and that lockdown wasn't just a short lockdown. I think it went on for what, 18 months?
Something like that. It was
or
awful,
longer.
wasn't it?
Well,
very, very long time.
All our classes were paused, so we basically lost all of our classes. But I wanted to stay in contact with our students. I still wanted to give them something they could work with. So I started filming courses, to actually trying to figure out how I could do, like, as though it was me sitting beside you doing a painting course or a painting class, and then to actually sort of let people buy those, and then they could do their sort of monthly painting classes. And I had absolutely no idea how to do filming or audio or lighting. I was as green as grass. I had an old mobile phone, and that was it. And it took me 4 months to make my first video.
4 months?
4 months. But I first had to figure out how to film it, which was one thing, and then to learn how to try and edit it. And then it's like just chasing this sort of technical sort of like pain. I couldn't really kind of scratch the itch, if you know what I mean. I didn't have the right equipment to do it with. That was the main stumbling block. And after I'd made about 12 or 13 tutorials, I realized that I needed a better camera, I needed a proper audio, and I needed some proper lights. And that was when I realized that if I'm going to start investing time and money in this, then I better move up in terms of my professionalism. I've got to make me a better presenter to film stuff. I can paint, that's the easy bit, but I need to present this professionally. And that's the effort. That's where you move from just a hobby filming to being a professional or presenting things professionally. And it's a big jump and a big learning curve.
Yes, I mean, I found similar myself, and my videos are nowhere near as professional as yours. I'm just having a laugh and messing about with resin, and people seem to like it. Whereas yours, actually, I mean, as you know, I'm a fan of your channel. I've seen a few of your videos now. I know we've only recently encountered each other, but I've watched a few of your videos now and joined in on a couple of your premieres. I could honestly sit there with a cup of tea. It's like watching magic unfold. But the way you explain things, you can tell there's a teaching background there, that you've done it before. It's with such clarity, and you're actually talking through what your thought process is. Absolutely love it. And I've actually bought some oil paints.
Wow. I converted you. Life will never be the same. Your eyes will be forever changed.
I mean, I used to paint with, because I did do art college, and then decided my heart wasn't in it.
Yes.
So I've always done acrylics and wildlife drawings with coloured pencil crayons and things like that. Always posh ones. I'm a bit of a craft material snob.
Yes.
But yeah, oils was something I never really got to grip with. And watercolours. So I'm playing with watercolours at the moment, and going to have oils soon. So yeah, so much so I've made a little channel to stick it on so people can have a laugh at me trying to learn. So your equipment. You mentioned equipment. So which route did you go with equipment? Because I mean, the room I'm in now, it is my craft room, as I'm sure that you see. I've got every blinking phone holder, gadget, light, microphone on this planet stuck across here. I've wasted so much money. What route did you go with to get started?
I started very much on the shoestring budget. I think initially, and I'll do a little fly around in a second, but I started off looking for secondhand equipment. I wanted what I wanted was a simple setup, and I sort of came up with the idea that I wanted everything attached to one single point in the room. So the camera would be on a pole, the audio, the lighting would all be literally on like a lamppost, and it was before it became a thing. Now it's quite a thing for people to actually do this. But literally, they're bolted to the bench it was actually a monitor stand, like for you put it on a desk, so you can actually sort of move the monitor around on an arm. So I've got that bolted to to my worktop, and then everything hangs off of it. And I bought second-hand monitor arm. I think I paid about 10 quid for that. I paid about 25 quid for 2 light panels, LED light panels, and everything else was either borrowed or acquired somewhere. And the only real money I spent was actually on a camera, and I bought a Canon EOS M50 Mark One, which was the big investment, and that was about then. I think it was about £500 then. But everything up until that point, 50 quid. The dog. I mean, there's broom handles and stuff, but it works.
Could you show us? I could see you're sat in your studio now, aren't you?
Yes, I'm sat in my studio. Yeah.
Are you able to swizz the camera out and show us?
Yeah, let's do a fly around.
Go on then. This is fun.
Just go
and you must point out if there's still any broom handles in amongst this.
Oh yeah.
There's me on the screen. I saw me.
There we go. Yeah, that's you on the screen. So this is the light set up above my head. Let's go behind the lights so you can see a bit better. But
that looks very professional.
What you've got here is you've got 2 lights on arms, and they're looking down at my easel. So there's my easel just there, and this is the sort of central pole here, and everything is clamped to it. And then if I zoom back here, you can see this is my main camera, and
it's a fancy bit of kit.
Because everything can be moved around, the whole thing can float, and then I can actually just sort of grab it and zoom in, and I can actually then film from here. That can sort of zoom straight in over the top. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, if you can sort of see what I'm looking at there. But
yes, yeah.
There we go. So you can actually film everything you need to film directly from here. So there we go. That's the basic setup that I went with in the end, because this way I can actually then, oops, let's pop that off. So there we go. That's from behind the camera.
Oh yes, I see.
Yeah. So this is all just floats on this arm, and it's then nice and easy to adjust. You can actually just grab the camera, and it can just be floated up and down.
And that's that second-hand.
Yeah.
Monitor mat.
Yeah. This is just a monitor arm. This was all second-hand, and all this was second-hand. And the top section up there with the lights on, that's all made up of broom handles. So
that's genius.
My backdrop blinds, they're from Dunelm's, and these big ones are £20 each. And then I just bought a couple of little video lights. From the back there, just to give myself a little bit of a backdrop lighting.
I think that's nice. Your artwork stands out with that little bit of colour, and it doesn't overpower it, does it? That just a little bit of colour behind it.
It's just give it just a little touch of light, and they keep the setup as simple as possible, so that it's just as easy to work with and not overly complicated. I don't do very expensive technology. I find it's just too complicated. I'm afraid I get sort of myself in a bit of a pickle with it all. So I try and keep it as simple as possible. Now this arm isn't going to stay here. There we go.
I can hear you screwing the thing up. There you go. There you go. It's all nice and level again. That's good.
And for audio.
So yeah.
Just to mention it. Oops, not quite in the picture. There we go. And for audio, I use the little DJI mic.
They are superb, aren't they? I've got a set of those. They're fantastic.
They are very, very good. They are extremely. I think the thing I like about these most of all is the fact this will last 13 hours on a single charge. Previous to that, I had like lavaliers on wires and things, which are all right until you get up and walk away. So yank them off your neck.
Just remember to take them off when you go to the loo, don't you?
This is it. Yeah, you have to know all these sorts of things. But this is an amazing little piece of kit. I think it was about £70, and I have this, and I have a Blue Yeti mic, a sort of big Yeti mic for my voiceover work, and that's really it. But I haven't actually spent a huge amount of money on any of this stuff.
It just shows it, especially as you started out just with an old phone and 50 quid, you reckoned.
50 quid and an old
You can get started with practically nothing really, and then you build on it as you learn, don't you?
Absolutely. I think the other thing is as if you're building a channel, I would sort of tell people to be very careful of not falling into the trap of becoming just buying gadgets, buying stuff because you think it might improve your presentation, and there is a temptation to just keep buying stuff, and just kind of like, oh, I need the latest this, I need the latest that, or as,
and you don't, do you?
We spoke earlier on about trying to get everything just exactly right. Whilst you're trying to become perfect at doing anything, time's are ticking by, and you don't need to be perfect. You can learn on the job, and it's sometimes better to learn as you go along, because if you wait till you're perfect, you could still be waiting this time next year. And I think I mentioned to you when someone asked me, they said, when's the right time to start anything? I said 5 minutes before you have the thought, because that's
I completely agree.
Get started early. Do your research, do your homework, and get on with it.
Because you learn by just doing it, don't you? And by making those mistakes. And I dread to think how much money I've wasted on stupid gadgets I didn't need.
Yeah, I mean, I look around me and I can see I've probably overspent about maybe 50 quid or 100 quid on half a dozen things that still was just gathering dust now. And I think well, I won't do that again. I won't use the latest camera. I don't need the latest camera. I don't need expensive lighting. I don't need, the latest whiz bang stuff. The technology is too complicated for my little brain anyway.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
If I can make it work, then I'll do it that way. And that's all I really have to do is, as long as I can make a good video, that's the main thing. And that's my one goal of good audio, good lighting. The camera work, that can be forgiven if it's not perfect, but if people can't hear what you're saying, then that's when you lose people. So I would say to anybody, if you want to invest money in anything, invest it in audio first, and then lighting, and then your camera after that, sort of in that order. So.
Yeah, very sound advice, I think. Talking of lighting, how do you get on with, bearing in mind you've got your beautiful artwork developing in front of you, how do you get on with the light not distorting and not, also oil paints are shiny, aren't they? How do you get away with now? What I create is shiny as well, and I have awful trouble with reflections.
Yes.
And very often when I'm editing my video, I go, that looks red, I thought it was orange when I was making it. How do you get on with all that side of things?
I don't really worry about it too much, to be honest.
Fair enough. Good.
That's the honest truth. I mean, I with this sort of canvas, this is matte, so it doesn't have any sheen to it. And I very often I'm painting on paper, which a lot of purists think is sort of crazy that I paint on paper.
I thought that was a bit different.
Yeah, this is decorating paper. This is literally lining paper that people use under when they're decorating a wall. And I just give it 2 coats of grey acrylic to seal it. Then I paint straight on it, and it's got enough texture to actually work for oil paints.
Well, I never.
And then obviously my easel here, I can adjust that so I can actually tip it forward slightly, so that the lighting, if it actually would reflect downwards, as opposed to not straight at the camera. So I tip my easel forwards or back, and that sort of gets rid of a lot of the glare.
That makes a lot of sense.
As for colour, I have all my lights are set to daylight. Everything in here is tuned to daylight, and I block out all natural light. That way I can control the lighting completely, which means that when I've done a video, if I look at it and the colours look a little bit off, it means I only have to make one change to change the entire video. I don't have to change lots of different clips.
Because it's consistent all the way through.
All the way through, even
So
if it
one
doesn't matter whether
change
it's
all through.
daytime or nighttime outside, it's the same colours in the studio. So that was one thing that I learned the hard
That's a
way.
big, yeah, I bet. Because I know when I film at night in this room, obviously it's
Yes.
daytime at the moment, I've got all these lights up here.
Yes.
Even the colour of the silicone mats that I'm working on changes colour.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I can mess about with the colour change a certain extent to sort of make it so a bit less drastic when I'm
Yes,
editing.
yes.
But yeah, if you've got it the same all the way through, that's what I need to do. Shut the blinds,
Pull the
film it with
blinds.
the artificial
Yeah.
light.
These are black outlines, or they're rather grey. So they're from Dunelm's, which are cheap as chips.
Yeah.
And I basically block this room out completely. I have grey blinds and black blinds, and I literally can turn this room into one stationary colour. So there's no sunlight or anything. It's just filming in one colour. And very often this will be the only colour part of the room that's lit up will be this corner, and the rest of it's in darkness. So
brilliant.
It feels like I'm filming in a cave.
That explains a lot, because one of my other questions really was around how long this all takes to do, because oil paints, I know you use the water washable ones, don't you?
Yes, occasionally, yes.
Oh, you use both, do you?
Oh, I use all sorts. Water mixable, I use traditional oils, and I paint in acrylics as well. Sometimes I use an acrylic for an underpainting. They dry really quick.
Yeah, but oils take days. They can take days, can't they? So how do you? So that consistency of lighting is going to be even more important, because it's going to be different every day. Otherwise, it looks like, having watched your videos, it looks like they're almost all done in one take, which I know they can't be.
They are actually filmed. Usually, they're filmed over a period of 2 to 3 days. So I'm painting wet on wet oils. It's a technique called alla prima, or in Italian that means in one sitting, in one take, so one go. So you're painting wet on wet. There is essentially no drying time allowed.
Right.
You are intending to work wet on wet on wet all the way through. However, on very warm days, because the paints will dry to a certain extent, they will become quite stiff, which can be an advantage sometimes. But they will take at least a week to become sort of touch dry. So there is a wall of semi-dry paintings over there that sort of live over there for a week or two.
And I get frustrated with my resin taking 24 hours.
Oh, that would be a huge advantage for someone like me.
Yeah. But it would, wouldn't it?
I enjoy painting wet on wet, and I really enjoy the fact that you can actually blend and move colours on the canvas.
Yeah.
It has a huge advantage, but it also means you can become a mud mixer. And I think a lot of oil painters, this is something you might come across when you're painting, is that if you like to fiddle with your paintings a little too much, that you can just end up taking something that's really rather nice and turning it into mud.
We do it with resin as well, trust me.
Yeah, exactly. You can just stir it one too many times. So I try to encourage people to go in to do what you want to do and then leave it alone. If you need to make a big change, then leave it to dry completely or start over, do another painting.
You can actually paint on top if it turns out horrible. You can just paint on top of things, can't you?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, you can't clean these you can't clean this off because it's only cost pennies. But I have canvases which I have painted on hundreds of paintings on the same canvas, literally hundreds. When I was teaching full-time classes, we would finish a painting, and after the students left, I would scrape the painting off, wipe it down with a thinner's rag. And then by next week it would be dry enough, and I would paint straight on that canvas again. Which
is brilliant. For anybody learning, because you're going to mess up, aren't you? I mean, you will. Yeah, when you're learning anything, it's going to be the way it is.
Not only when you're learning, when you've been doing it for a while, you can still make a mess of things. So
I suppose, I think you never stop learning. That's why, isn't it?
There's always something new to learn. Always something new.
So when you actually started up your YouTube channel itself, what surprised you most about doing YouTube, do you think?
That I could be paid for doing it.
It's a nice surprise, isn't it? Took me by surprise too.
I was so naive. Actually, the reason why I started doing YouTube was as an outlet for creativity, but to advertise the fact that I had made courses that you could purchase. and I'd been trying to break into advertising using what was it now? One of the advertising and I was paying advertising fees to try and promote stuff, and I was thinking this is going to cost more than I could ever make. And I was out trying to advertise on Facebook, and I was using AdSense, and it was just another whole level of complexity that I didn't want to get into. And so I thought, well, maybe I can make a YouTube video, and people will see that, and then they'll go and buy the course. And then, surprise, surprise, out of the blue, someone mentioned that they were being paid by YouTube, and I thought, so they actually get paid to make videos, and it seems such a sort of an obvious thing, but to me, it wasn't.
No, nor me.
I realised you didn't realise either.
No. I just filmed something because I wanted to show my friends how I'd made this necklace that I was wearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Put it on YouTube. Next thing I know, I'd got 10 subscribers, and I went, what? Then I realised that people were making money, and it's like
it was just that much of a surprise. So I said to my half, I said, I think if I'm going to do this, I have to give myself at least a year to see if I can make any progress on this. And I think that's the other thing to keep in mind, is that having worked for myself, having run my own companies, my own business, I've been self-employed for many years. These things take time. You have to be in it for at least a year to see if you can even start getting the basics done. I think anybody who goes into something thinking they're going to crack it within 2 or 3 months, it just isn't realistic. You have to give it at least a year, and at the end of the year to then assess how things have gone before you commit another year. But it can take, I didn't realize how long it can take to get a channel monetized. I think I got mine done in 7 months.
That's good going.
Again, it was more through naivety. I didn't realize that 7 months was quick, because I didn't know.
It's pretty darn good, that is.
So 7 months to get to 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours, and I think my first check was for 16 pence. So that 16 pence though meant a lot to me, because I'd made, even by then, I had already made something like 50 videos.
Goodness.
So, and I was then really doing 2 a week. And I was learning how to edit, learning how to do sound. It's steep learning curve, very steep. Oh, hang on, let me turn it off. That's right, it's my dehumidifier. So yeah, it was a really steep learning curve. But again, I didn't wait till I was perfect, far from.
No, well, I hadn't got a clue what I was doing when I started, so it is. You just got to dive in, haven't you? I think in your case, you're painting, me with my resin crafts. I think we have a little bit of an advantage with the whole advertising side of YouTube, which generates the income that they pay to us.
Yes.
Because the sort of stuff that we're doing, people do tend to sit down with a cup of tea and watch.
Yes.
And they're longer videos just by the nature of, if people want to see the process, they're longer anyway.
Yes.
So YouTube will favour that for adverts. And I think also, and this is going to sound a bit ageist, but for us grown-ups, and we're not doing, not necessarily grown up in here, I don't mean that, but we're not doing, gaming channels or things like that. We're doing stuff that's aimed at people of our sort of age group who are prepared to, more prepared to spend money on things. Then I think we get a higher, is it CPM or RPM? I forget which it is, but the payment per advert, per 1,000 adverts and so on, ours is quite higher anyway.
Yes.
Because of the nature of our audience.
Yes, I think the subject matter. I mean, finance is always seen as the top earner, the RPM, the revenue per mil.
But ours does stack up quite well, doesn't it?
I mean, I've got someone who's in the finance channel, and he regularly gets £30 for 1,000 views. So he's doing about sort of like 3 times what I earn, or 4 times what I earn. And gamers, they earn pennies on 1,000 views.
It's just pennies, isn't it? I think the niche has got a lot to do with it, and firmly believe the age group that we're
Yes.
aiming at as well.
Yes, we're in
But
both the
people,
disposable income groups. You know, I mean,
that's it. Disposable income.
if you're aiming at students and you're aiming at sort of people who are probably on a limited income, then obviously the advertising won't follow you, and they
No,
won't spend money on that group, which is a shame.
it is. But because they're the future audience for them, aren't they?
So this is
See,
it.
it's a bit
Yes,
short-sighted, but
it is.
yeah, and also if you think about it, the sort of people who can afford to spend like 30 quid on a bottle of resin, or
Yes,
a stack
yes.
of, I mean, professional grade paints are not cheap.
Not
Canvases
cheap.
are not
No,
cheap.
no,
People
no.
who are in that category of affording to, consider buying
Yes,
that sort of thing. Yeah,
yes,
they are your disposable income type people.
yes,
So I think we have a little bit of a luxury. I'm trying to think what mine
yes.
is.
I think that's true. I think
I think it was £18
I
last
mean,
time.
I try and offer as many budget tips because not everybody who
Oh
wants to
yeah,
paint has
and
got
me.
a big expense. Reason why
Mm,
I paint on paper, if I had to paint on a canvas every time I produced a video, then that would cost me £7 or £8 every single
yeah,
painting. This way, it costs me like less than £1.
yeah,
So
and that
I
makes it accessible, doesn't it?
it does. I think you've got to show people that finance or money shouldn't be the thing that holds them back. I think that there are so many
Mm,
people who are being held back by just finances, lack of money, and I think that's such a shame. So I try and show people how they can get started on a
mm,
budget. That they can reuse their paint, they can save paint they don't necessarily use straight away. They can
yeah,
put their paint in the freezer and bring it back the following week and start over again. So I'm all about making art accessible to everybody.
I
There
fully
should be
agree.
no limits, and if finance is the limiting factor, then it's a great shame. So
It is. I mean, just because of the way things are, a decent resin that will work and not kill you
yes,
is a bit pricey. So that is the way it is. But
yeah,
when I'm just looking around my craft room here, I've got molds that will have set if I have the luxury of not having to buy most of them, which is
yeah,
brilliant. But some of them. I mean, I know I've got one mold that is over £100.
wow,
I did buy that one. Don't tell my
quite an
other half.
investment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And then I've got to get it shipped from Australia. Down
Yeah,
to one of my little favourites, this little fella.
yeah,
I think it was
yeah.
£1.99 off Amazon for a pack of 2 or something
There you
stupid
go.
like that.
Yeah,
So it is, I think, nice to show both ends of the scale so that
it
people
is.
can see what they can aspire to. But
It
also,
is.
if you're just getting started, you don't want to spend a fortune anyway. You might not like it.
Yeah, I mean, one of the little videos I made, one of my little tutorials was I did a whole little sort of suite of videos called "Getting Started with Oils," where I literally bought some water mixable oils. You can buy a little
Mm,
box of 6 oil paints, and I showed you how to use them to do 3 paintings. So a landscape, a
wonderful.
still life. The other one is like a seascape. So I did 3 very simple little paintings, and the idea was the tagline for it was is a studio in a shoebox. Everything had to fit into a shoebox, including the
Love
the
it.
panel that you painted on. So that if you only had space in a drawer for a shoebox, you could
Mm,
paint. And that was the thing, is that you didn't need a big
love that.
expensive easel, you didn't need expensive lights, you didn't need expensive anything, and you didn't even need thinners. Just some basic brushes, some water mixable oils, a little panel, and a little bit of enthusiasm. And I think that's the other thing I always tell people is, they say, well, I'm not very talented. And I said, thank goodness for that, neither am I. I said, because I think talent is a little overrated, but enthusiasm will take you to the moon of beyond. If you're
Yeah.
enthusiastic, you can do anything. And I always tell people, if you're enthusiastic, that's all you need to be. Then you just
Mm,
need someone to guide you a little bit, and then you're set.
yeah.
So don't wait to be talented. It's overrated.
And I think most of us can learn anything if we're keen enough, can't we? It is just putting you, as you say, it's the enthusiasm, it's the attitude, it's putting your mind to it,
It
isn't it?
is.
Really.
It is. I
So
mean, I
yeah.
give a little bit of background. My dad, bless him, was a surgeon, and for one of my very first jobs when I left school, I worked as a theatre technician. So I would actually do the sort of donkey work, sort of like lugging stuff around in the operating theatres. And I watched my dad
Goodness,
operating on people, and I used to watch with my
incredible.
mouth open. to watch
I
my
bet.
dad at work. That was quite something. And I used to talk to him afterwards and said, "Oh, good Dad, you did that. That looks amazing." I said, "How did you learn to do that?" And he just laughed. He said, "You know what? It's just fancy carpentry." He said, "Just chipping bits off and screwing bits back on." He said, "and just making it look nice." And years later, you realise that he was just very good at making something complicated look easy.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because as he
Mm.
said, like, if you do something long enough, he said, you get really good at it. And he was really
Mm.
good at it. So
Goodness me. That's a beyond normal skill, isn't it? It's incredible.
it is, yes, yeah. Especially because he was a maxillofacial surgeon, so he would be operating in sort of damaged, people with sort of damaged faces.
Oh,
So he was doing more than just plastic surgery. He was sort of trying to fix what was underneath the skin and do it without breaking the skin or cutting people or damaging them. But
it's such an important job.
amazing job. And I saw some of the work he did, and I saw photographs that were taken before and after. Transformative. People's
That's complete
faces.
life changing, isn't it, for people?
For some people, yes,
Yeah.
especially people with some serious facial injuries. He did an amazing job. So
Mm.
I was very proud of my dad. He's a great
And a
guy.
creative job as well.
Very creative, you see.
So you've got it in the blood, creative
Yeah,
blood.
he would look at my painting stuff and he would sort of like, he could appreciate what I was trying to do.
Mm.
And although he didn't quite understand, because he wasn't a business person, whereas I was more business minded. And he used to just say, you really enjoy doing this. And I said, Dad, it's the best thing ever. So he always backed whatever I wanted to do. My dad was always the biggest cheerleader. He was the one on the side. Well, the whole family were. So
Yeah,
I think that is important.
it is. I was lucky like that as well.
Yeah, you've got to have cheerleaders and you've
Mm.
got to have backers.
Yeah.
But I always, I kind of half mentor people sometimes. I like to, if I can give people a little bit of advice or help when they're trying to start something up. And I've always tried to help people if they want to get going with something, to give them some common sense advice. And I think that sometimes common sense advice is sometimes not that common. People go into the technical nuts and bolts too soon.
Yes, that can be the case, definitely.
Very much so.
Yeah, sure.
Very much so.
Yeah, it's good to share, isn't it? What you build up all this experience over the years. What are you going to do with it other than use it yourself?
That's it.
Share it out.
There is definitely an element of I'm going to be careful with my words here. There's definitely some snobbery involved in the world of art, that some people who are very good teachers, but somehow think it's important to keep it to themselves how they do certain things, and because if they know how to do something, then they've always got something that they can use to promote themselves, and that's fine if that's the way they want to do things. Yeah. I've always been
it.
It is, but I've always been of the opinion that if you know something, share it, give it away.
That's my way of doing things. Yeah. I totally agree with you.
If you know something and you keep it to yourself, it has no value. It only has value if you share it. Then it becomes priceless. But if I was the only person that knew something, then it is valueless. So I always tell people to share what they know, give it freely, give the best of what you know to other people so that they can pass it along, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. That's brilliant. Paul, it's been absolutely fascinating hearing how you've turned a beautiful traditional skill like oil painting into a very viable YouTube channel.
Yes.
You must be teaching thousands of people. How many subscribers have you got now? Is it 23 something at the time?
It's heading towards 24,000 now.
Yeah,
so
I thought so.
I'm trying to get to 25 before my birthday.
When's your birthday?
1st of May, so I've only got about 6 weeks.
Right. I'll try and get this edited quick so we can tell everybody to go and subscribe.
Only if you want to.
So in addition to your subscribers, because we all know that probably only half the people who watch our videos actually subscribe for some unknown reason.
Yes.
So you're probably teaching 50,000 people already to paint. That's staggering, isn't it?
It is quite amazing. I feel very privileged to be in so many people's living rooms on their computers, and I think that I take that responsibility seriously, because I think that you can take it for granted. you know, I'm in a privileged position now. I've earned my stripes. I've spent 20 something plus 25 years learning how to teach art and to be in people's living rooms. I take responsibility for doing as good a job as I can to make sure that people get the right stuff from what I'm trying to teach. So I feel very privileged and very pleased to be in the position I'm in. So you know, and I look forward to getting another few thousand subscribers over the years.
Yeah, more people to share your knowledge with. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So everyone, if you would like to see Paul's paintings and follow his tutorials, I totally recommend them. I am a fan myself, thoroughly enjoy them. I'll put a link to Paul's channel down in the video description. I'll also pop links to it everywhere I can think of, to be perfectly honest. So we'll link you up all over the place.
Yes.
If you fancy having a go at oil paintings or just really enjoying watching the process, because that's fabulous as well, then do go and subscribe to Paul. Let's see if we can get him to that 25,000 by his birthday. And if you enjoy hearing the stories behind the hobbies that become YouTube channels and so on, how people film, how they create and so on, then if you haven't already, please do subscribe to this channel as well. I'll be bringing you more of this sort of thing over the coming months. I've got a whole great long list of fantastic people to interview and to share with you, from some small channels to some absolutely stonking big huge ones. So it'd be lovely to have you on board. So just, you know, click some of these things down here. There's lots of stuff. Just have fun clicking it. Most of them are free as well. Take care then, and thanks again, Paul.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.